Hello, First You. Hello. Hello. Hello, friends on Zoom. Hello. Thank you. I will always remember as a child going with my grandparents to go vote. I always loved that bake sale with the warm chocolate chip cookies and the I voted pins, even though I didn't really understand what that was all about. But I'll also always remember the first time I voted. My grandma and I went. I was at my own machine, obviously, and she tried to peek over to see who I was voting for. You don't do that. We had very different ideas. We were voting for very different people. But I saw in my Gram's eyes how proud she was that I was keeping on this family practice. While voting has been a part of my family for a long time, and it's something that they taught me, it is something I will also pass on when I have my own family. But it wasn't until I was older that voting became something deeply personal and in many ways spiritual. My name is Chuck Black. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm honored to be the worship leader. 2 years ago, we talked about hearing people and listening, so today we're going to talk about something else. I've been a member of our church since 2021, and this place has been transformative in my own journey. I'd also like to just take a moment to welcome one of my best friends for coming today, Lisa, and a couple of my best friends joining us online. One of my friends, Emily, it is her 50th birthday, but so she's probably gonna yell at me in Zoom, but I am so excited that Zoom allows people from hours away to be here. So we've all heard this is the most important election in our lifetime. I've heard this every time I could vote. Have you heard this before? Have you heard this about this November? How about our friends in Zoom? Well, they're gonna say yes. My hope, yes. My hope is that we can move past that language and focus on that every election matters. Your local council person, your state representative, they matter a whole lot. Our council, our mayor, they determine how our local tax dollars are spent. And as we're going to talk about, budgets are a moral document. Judges that we elect here in our city and statewide matter, especially around our fights around criminal justice. Every election is important. And in Pennsylvania, we should be voting in our primary if you're part of the two parties, but we should also have open primaries, and we should vote in November. Thank you for the applause. I'm feeling pumped. So while church shopping in 2012 in a smaller part of our state, amidst another important presidential election, and yes, I was told that one was the most important, I stumbled upon Unitarian Universalism. I was intrigued by the principles, especially the fifth one, that says we promote the use of the democratic processes in our church and in society at large. As someone who studied politics, I love democratic processes. As a person who has a lot to say, I also love processes. But why does this principle matter, especially in this place? The late Senator Robert F. Kennedy said, democracy is messy. Democracy's hard. It's never easy. I would argue that democratic processes matter here because it allows each of us to have a voice. When we come together in our big meetings, we vote on major items such as the budget. Those meetings also give each of us a chance to voice our concerns, and we all can speak up and have concerns, especially before a vote. However, we also have the opportunity to elect members of a board to represent us to make choices. I recently had the great honor of serving on this board for about 2.5 years, and I encourage you to think about how can you serve this place. Every board meeting, anyone can come, and these meetings being on Zoom allow for a greater opportunity for people to attend. Show up, even if it's briefly. The board wants to hear from you about our church. So let's go back to that quote from Senator Kennedy. Democracy is messy. Democracy is hard. Each budget that the board works on can be hard work, and hard decisions have to be made, and they have been, and they will. We are growing as a church, and we're going to keep growing, but the board is charged with keeping an eye on the finances. When we all give through our pledges, we are doing our part to make that budget a little less easier. Democracy matters, and our call to awaken love and justice in our lives, in the world, also means being involved in these processes in our city, in our state, in our country. The Unitarian Universalist Association leads an effort called UU the Vote. This is a nonpartisan civic engagement program that focuses on voting, organizing, justice, and accountability. The work may look different church by church, but this is the Unitarians' way of encouraging the use of democratic processes in our society. We educate people around elections, provide resources, call and text people, write letters, and make sure everybody is prepared to do their civic duty. The efforts here at First View are underway, and I encourage you to stay tuned for announcements and ways to become involved. In Pennsylvania, through UU Justice PA, who hosts UU the Vote, our goals include writing 10,000 letters with Vote Forward, making 35,000 phone calls with super majority with a focus on young women of color who are registered voters, but they're not super voters. We're gonna knock 25,000 doors. We're gonna lead 5,000 relational conversations with red, wine, and blue. That's a fun name. We're gonna register 5,000 voters with the League of Women Voters. And we're gonna send 5,000 postcards with Turnout, Pennsylvania. Woo! Yes. Woo. These vetted partners will help us with resources and tools to carry out these actions. So I want you all to think about what role you want to have in the fifth principle. Even something as simple as posting on your own social media, especially if it's vetted, on showing people how to register to vote or find where to vote and how to vote, that can go a long way. Each of us has a voice, each of us matters. We know democracy is messy, but we also know it can be fun, especially the past week. I do this work professionally in a nonpartisan way at the Fair Election Center's Campus Vote Project. I work with young people around the country to help get their classmates registered, educated, and out to vote. It gives me so much hope seeing young people stepping up in great ways. According to vote.org, which is nonpartisan, over 100,000 people registered to vote since last Sunday. You all know what happened. Voters under 35 make up nearly 85% of that number. And my favorite part, of that group of 100,000, 18% of them are 18 years old. While we know we are in unprecedented times, and I'm getting tired of being in unprecedented times, it's like every weekend, we're also in inspiring times. I was recently reminded by one of my best friends as I was preparing for the sermon, how in one day through that same website, 35,000 people registered to vote because Taylor Swift told them that they should. Outside of all that, my off-the-clock activism matters deep to me, and it's a part of my own spiritual practices. It's rewarding and special when you know, because of you, somebody else is going to be involved. Our Unitarian Universalist Association president, Dr. Reverend Sophia Bentecourt, said, "UU the vote is about meeting the moment. It's about refusing to turn away. It's our work to witness pain, to witness grief, to witness what is possible." And that's what we preach and teach about, and that's what we do. We know there's going to be a lot of noise, and a lot of things are going to happen between now and November. One could lead an entire sermon or a course on navigating misinformation. This is a major threat to democracy. I want to encourage each of us to fact check before you share things on social media and stand up to false posts. While I admittedly consume way too much news and spend way too much time on social media, especially Twitter, I adamantly rely on sources such as the Pennsylvania Department of State or the League of Women Voters for reliable, nonpartisan information. I invite you and challenge you to think about, what do you want to do? How can you live out the fifth principle? So let's start with the church. What role can you have here at First View? Just being a member matters a whole lot. Showing up when you can, virtual or in person, matters a whole lot. Volunteering for a committee, working group, etc. matters a whole lot. Now, I'm not suggesting our entire church should run for a board post, but if you feel compelled, the nominating committee is always looking for people prior to each big meeting for spots. The nominating committee is currently made up of Phyllis Belk, who is here, can you wave? We love Miss Phyllis. Natalie Pendergast, Kelly Cervek, Raymond Owens, and myself. So as we get through the next 2 years, talk to us. Now on to thinking about outside of this place. Consider how you can be involved. Consider joining UU the Vote. Voting in November matters. Encouraging your friends and family to vote matters. Stepping up to one of those many actions matters. If you volunteer are ready for UU the Vote, raise your hand. All right, we gotta change that, but let's give them a round of applause. While most of the attention this election season is on the presidential race, there is so much else on the ballot. There is so much at stake. In Pennsylvania, we will elect an attorney general, and we should want people who will represent our values. Whoever we elect as our next state treasurer will be a watchdog on how we spend our money. As I said, budgets are a moral document, and how we as a Commonwealth, where we spend our money and how we spend our money matters. We can and we should elect people with our values. We all know we're in tough times as a country. So much is at stake. While I hope we had a little fun, I know it's such a serious thing. The future of democracy is something that keeps me awake. The future of my rights as a queer person are at stake. The future of my sister's rights to choose is so deeply under attack and being rolled back, and I fear for the future that could hold for all three of them and all women. The future of voting rights are at stake. The Nonpartisan Voting Rights Lab is currently watching 312 bills introduced within the past 6 months that are attacking voter access across the country. Let's think about this for a minute, especially around things like voter ID. Voter ID can have a chilling effect on queer people, especially trans and non-binary people, who their photo ID doesn't match their name. This can be harmful, this can intimidate, and it can often lead to someone deciding not to vote. If your vote did not matter, people would not be pushing so hard to stop you from voting. For all my fears and all my concerns, I'm working to put that fear into actual actions. I refuse to wake up on November 6th asking myself, did I do enough? But I'm working on also reminding myself to focus only what I can control. And therapy helps. In the heat of everything, my spiritual practices also must include self-care. There are times that I just need to walk away from the news, turn my phone off, get off social media, go outside, and do things to recenter myself. Only I can control the role I have in carrying out our fifth principle in living out democracy as my spiritual practice. Beloveds, I thank you for being a part of our journey and my own journey. Let's get out there and save democracy. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Reverend Hannah Capaldi.
And I'm Reverend Abby Tennis. We are the ministers at the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, where our mission is to awaken love and justice in our lives and in the world.
We're so grateful that you watched, and we hope that the sermon connected with your soul.
We also want to invite you to join us for a live worship service every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can always find the link to that service on our website at www.philauu.org. In these services, you'll hear words like you've just heard, and you also get a chance to greet one another, pray together, sing together, and we even hold a virtual coffee hour after services to get a chance to greet some new and old friends.
If you want to support the mission of this community and you feel moved to give, you can do so by going to the website that Reverend Abby just mentioned. You can find that link below, or you can text 215-709-5095 and follow the prompts to give.
If someone in your life needs to hear these words today, we encourage you to share this video. And again, thank you so much for watching.
We hope to see you soon.